This podcast may contain offensive content. You have been warned. Hello, this is Johnny Robertson. You may be expecting something different, and you're going to get something different. This is the D&D podcast Roundtable Edition, or what we know as the Buffer Edition, as we are down one member because James is out experiencing the wonders of PAX West. Also, potentially some D&D Acquisitions Live Incorporated out there.
His company.
What? I don't know about that part.
His company's secret location went there to display their game, Blasters of the Universe. It's an augmented reality game. Go check it out.
That's
not a plug at all.
It's more of an advertisement. So we're coming here to talk about, we've got maybe one or two episodes left to go in the season. So we have Brendan, Miles, Tom, and Trevor here to talk about not just the season, but the whole
Feelings.
3 years of Tarek and the Head Smashers.
Yeah.
And
never losing that name.
Never losing it.
Branding. Out of character, branding. In character, branding.
So if you want to know who we are, we're the D&D podcast, not copyright for obvious reasons. But you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, our own website, www.flandersstudios.com, where you can find our other wonderful podcasts like Talking Crit, where it's a recap show of Critical Role, or The Nerds, where we have The Defenders and Game of Thrones coming up very soon. Yeah. Because Iron Fist has to redeem itself somehow. But we're going to...
He did not do that.
He did not do that.
It explained it at least. It explained it, yeah.
Goofy sidekick at least.
Yeah.
So
I have thoughts on Defenders too.
So here we are. We have, I guess, just go around the table, quickly introduce everyone of who you are and your characters in case they don't recognize the voices of who they are. So we'll start with Brendan.
I'm Brendan. I play Dolus, the adorable 13-year-old who may or may not have killed a lot of dwarves.
Now,
in the genocide.
did you start at 13 years old?
I did not start as 13 years old, nor did I start at 5 foot something. It's changed a lot.
I'm Miles. I play Bondal Loader, the cleric of Palor with a dark past. This year, getting closer to redeeming himself, possibly.
This is Tom. I play Tarek Whiteclaw of Tarek and the Head Smashers. Tarek, the Metal Bard, the Bard of Destiny, the winner of Tarek, reigning champion.
Thanks, Khaleesi. got more names than a Targaryen.
Yeah. And then I am Trevor, and I play Hagliana. I used to play Hawk, and now I play Hagliana.
So here we've gone through 3 seasons of Dungeons & Dragons. We started off with Tyranny of Dragons, and we're moving our way into the Vault of Wonders. So I guess the first thing I want to go around and ask the table, I'll start with Trevor and go around because Brendan actually has the luxury of listening to all of us have our adventures firsthand before he joined in.
It's true.
So I just want you guys to just take a moment and think about where your character started and how much they've changed to where they are now, currently stuck.
Let me think.
There's a big elephant in the corner.
Basically exactly the same, aside from my gender and race.
And alignment.
And alignment.
And voice.
Height and weight. Voice. Temperament.
So just D&D things.
Attitude towards killing civilians and sleeping people. Changed a lot.
Evil magical swords.
I'm still on the fence about the evil magical swords.
Real addiction.
I don't know, man. You did a lot of killing in the name of good, or semi-good, or like anti-hero.
What I've learned is that if your character doesn't change, then the world will change your character for you.
Mad deep, yo.
Just as a side note, so when I don't know what it is when I roll the dice for loot tables, but when I roll the loot tables for you guys, they're always crazy high. And getting the Black Razor in Fangorn's Dragon Lair or Dragon Horde was just pure dumb luck.
And it was referenced in a previous season too, when you guys are trying to find what good sword, good line, neutral line sword.
I think that's actually like mentioned in an early episode of that season.
Yeah,
I think it's maybe like mentioned. I think
some
in
good
episode,
swords.
Yeah, in episode 1 actually.
Yeah, because you watched the history roll on that one.
Yeah. Yep.
It wasn't evil.
It wasn't evil.
So let's talk about that, Trevor. Let's talk about where you started in that magical change that happened in season 3, episode 8.
What does not bend has its gender bended. So I don't know. It's fun. It's like I always have a thing when I play characters that you should hold on to things that your character would hold on to, even when everyone else doesn't want you to. It's like that's where good drama comes from conflict. So there's no way I was giving up that sword, and so it was interesting. It's it was a good story hook that I think went to the inevitable place of someone magically either destroying me or the sword or wishing me into a female high elf.
Yeah, because it really was like it was a multi-season long like character thread.
Yeah,
like you were obsessed with a destructive sword.
It was awesome. I mean, Hawk likes killing things.
Justified, yeah, totally justified.
I guess Hawk liked killing things, and it was the best thing at killing things ever.
Yeah.
So, of course, he wasn't going to let it go.
Yeah.
And then it was just a careless wish that turned
Careless wish.
I do gotta say,
I think it's clear that in the grand scope of the game, it's destiny, and if you changed, you were meant to change.
It was also that every time someone tried to take the sword, I rolled like a 18 or higher every time. Someone's like, take the sword, 19.
Yeah. It's actually the same with you. Whenever we need you to do like lockpicking,
we
roll like stupid high on that shit.
Yeah. I shouldn't be as good at as
but you are. That's
based on my actual stats.
Dice tell the narrative. Dice tell the narrative.
Yep.
Yeah, because I always flash back to that one scene in the council chamber where it's Pela and Tarek trying to disarm Hawk Liana.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they threw everything at you, and you just kept rolling 19s and 20s. And it just, I can't remember how they, I think it was like the third hold person finally took.
Yeah.
It was the desert one?
Did I have to change you? No, you resisted that shape change. I tried to shape change at one point, I think, and you resisted it.
Yeah,
because I was like, "There's no way he's going to hit this dex," and then he fucking did. Or it was like Will or something. I can't remember, but like you hit it and just hit it stupidly high.
I like to think that Hazarwan was it Hazarwan the sword or is it the dragon? Who's the dragon?
Hazarwan was the sword.
And the dragon.
Put himself into the
Hazarwan was looking out for me there.
Yeah. Very
magical bonus.
All right, let's go down the table. Tom, Tarek, how has Tarek changed since
how's Tarek changed?
Walking into Greenest for the first time?
He's more recognized, and that's the most important thing to him. It's if this world had a Twitter and Snapchat, he'd be all over that, and Instagram, just be like selfies in the dungeons and like on the road.
Hey guys, 5 feet above an acid trap. Selfie!
I'm falling as I'm falling into this acid trap. Failed my dex roll. But yeah, I mean, I think he's accomplished what he wanted to do to some degree. But obviously, being the way I play him is that he'll never be satisfied with the attention, and he'll always be looking for more. But yeah, I've always tried to really lean into that and have him be a blend of just really verbose, almost annoying, characters and celebrities, very sure of themselves and just, demanding that you pay attention to them. So maybe in that way, kind of like, Chevy Chase from Community, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. Hey, I'm over here, pay attention to me. So, and I think he's managed to, react to things accordingly and kind of, go after things that he wants because he knows it'll make a great story no matter what. So,
does he feel any remorse whatsoever for any of the wish spells he was cast?
Any of them at all?
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say I don't think in 3 seasons I've ever heard Tarek say I'm sorry for anything to anybody.
No, that's a lot of tape.
That's a lot of tape. That's a lot of years without saying sorry.
Probably
but,
not. I mean, maybe it was about something small, like, but nothing big.
Yeah.
No, nothing like a wish spell.
Or bringing like hundreds of Dracolicious into the world.
Yeah.
There was never like a whoops.
Yeah, I think he'll justify it and be like, "Oh, well, okay. Well, let's deal with this." But you know what? I think he kind of lives the mantra of that meme where it's like, whenever something goes wrong in your life, just throw up your arms and say and yell "plot twist" and move on. just deal with what you deal with what you with the consequences. Just like, oh no, don't say sorry. Just deal with it.
And as an open question to the rest of the group right now, because this has happened already, how does the rest of the group feel about having 2 Terriks now?
Oh. It's a compliment. You played that very well, Tom. That was a very fun bit. Like, you would practice maybe a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I referenced certain things. Yes, I definitely. I mean, I was very clear about referencing certain things, and obviously, pop culture. I obviously am very absorbed in that, which is actually what I do with Tarek too. I'm very much immersed in pop culture, sci-fi genre, all that stuff, and I kind of reflect that in Tarek, and like, just remixing certain moments and scenes that I've seen. So.
It seems pretty clear that Tarek Tuesdays are numbered, and like I will not be surprised if when we wake up after this long rest that he will be dead.
That's why I've been trying to push him to the front.
Yeah, exactly.
These are spare, like you go set up the traps.
Hey man, this is the Star Trek reboot. There could be two Spocks in the timeline.
As a brief aside, I hate that there are 2 Spocks. In Star Trek, Spock just shows up to like ruin the plot of all the movies.
Yeah.
Makes me very mad.
Here's some critical information I could have given you an hour ago.
Which did help us out a lot though in this.
Well, it did. You avoided the first couple of traps after.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you still walked into the room though, which was just amazing.
But Vondel's made his feelings pretty plain. It's like, hey Tarek, like you really pieced out of there pretty quickly. That was not cool.
I don't think I mean, Tarek, future Tarek, had his reasons, and again, I've always played into the fact that
You really hit the panic button quick.
Yeah. Tarek would justify being like, well, you weren't there, obviously, and also the fact, I played into the fact that he
was technically there though.
Yes, he was technically there, but we haven't seen future Darkest Timeline Vondel.
Yeah, maybe.
And you know what? I always play the thread that he gets especially scared around ghosts and phantoms and things like that.
Mm.
So I felt like that was a good point, being like, it was a good point to use it in the context of what was happening at the time. Like 2 people were down. Me and Vonda were kind of cut off from everyone else, and it didn't look good for. I think it was Hakliana. You were in the Blades.
I was in the grinder.
Yeah, you were in the grinder.
I was in the blender.
Dolus was down. Vonda was blocked off. And
Yeah.
Halo was kind of surrounded by banshees and.
I took myself down.
Just think about that. I'm being ground from the feet by rollers, like a masher. And then I'd be rolling to stay alive, so just being slowly crushed down with that thing.
Yeah.
Actually,
Over 3 or 4 turns.
the mechanics would have been you would have just automatically failed your death save every single time.
Oh, but I had my roll my
right.
saving throw to get back to 1
Yeah.
hit point over and over again. And I'd be like, "Ah!" It was like Terminator or something.
It's just sausages, links of sausages. He comes out.
So hard to kill a barbarian.
All right, well, let's.
Talk about Vondel.
So Vondel, I feel like I've done a pretty good job of like Vondel has definitely opened up to the group a lot, but I kept that secret from you guys for so long.
Yeah.
But, like,
That was awesome.
Was like the actual deal of his past, and like I had it written out before we started. I tweaked it between one of the seasons a little bit.
I think it was the beginning of season 3 you tweaked it.
Yeah, I just firmed up some details so that John could take some firmer things, because I had written it without any pronouns basically, or any nouns rather. Like it was all just like an organization, like insert name here, like my mentor, insert name here, I because I wanted John to have room to play with it if he wanted to.
If you read that with no pronouns, I would have been very impressed.
Yeah. Proper nouns. Yeah.
I do have to give credit because I remember thinking of when at the start of the season I was trying to come up with like good names of like a secret organization, and you just nailed it with a knife. I was like, oh, it's such a good name. That's got to carry over because that name is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was,
The knife?
Yeah, the knife was in my second draft.
Nice.
But I also was like, hey, if you want to change this, like, no
Yeah.
problem. That was just
I like the idea of the Mad Lib character sheet, though.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, like the basics were there, like between both versions. But like he was a dwarf who left when he was like 50-ish years old, which is still pretty young for a dwarf, and then couldn't find work as a tradesman, and then found work of a different sort.
Down the docks.
Down the docks.
the Dwarven dogs.
But other than that, like he's opened up more to his friends, but like still remains fairly closed closed in, which I think is a nice balance for him. I like playing Avon a lot. I've said this, I think, on a previous round cast, but like he's the first character that I've ever played that I created and then leveled up from 1 through 19 now, which is pretty wild.
Because
Yeah.
back before we podcasted, he inherited a character.
Yeah,
Right?
the
So
Dragonborn Paladin.
Yeah, Dragonborn Paladin. And like, oh my god, the cleric, so much more fun than a Dragonborn Paladin in 4E. At least like what they can do, like the amount of variety I get with what Wandel can do. Is,
Well, you have the
perfect.
spell cards, which must help.
Oh yeah, oh my god. So my laptop got stolen 18 months ago. It was like during this filming of, I guess, season 2? No. Anyway, one of those seasons, and I had before that I just like copied my spells into a book, and I just like took what I thought I would need the most times. Which was fine, but like I meant that I didn't really like explore the cleric list in the same way. And then I was like getting ready to like remake those sheets, and I was like, this is gonna take hours. Like, this is gonna take so long to do.
Someone must have fixed this problem already.
Yeah, and so I went to a local gaming shop, and I was like, oh, I can just buy these cards. This is so much better. And especially because I'm a cleric of life, I don't have any spells outside the cleric spellbook.
Oh, that's good.
Other schools do, but like that one does not. So everything I could possibly use is in there, and so it lets me like flip through them. There's so many. I have like 34 spells prepared.
It's a lot
at a time. So there's still quite a lot I got to go through. But so that's why there's so many pauses sometimes.
I still feel that we should at some point give you like a little wizard ability where it's just like your signature spell, where it doesn't cost you like a slot to remember.
A slot to remember.
Well, there are a few things I do get for free, so like that's part of the reasons why it's so high. Like all of my domain spells. So like bless, doesn't count against my total.
Yeah.
Cure wounds,
I was gonna
raise
say
dead,
for
revert
Spirit
fire.
Guardians, though, the amount of times you've cast that over the 3 years, like
Yeah.
you're so familiar with that spell.
I'm very familiar with Spirit Guardians. Yeah, it's not one of my core ones, but there's like one, like there's Guardian of Faith, which I've never used. It's one of mine prepared all the time. It just like puts a thing on the map that does 40 damage, then pieces out.
Oh,
It's like
it's pretty good.
It's not too bad, but just like it's stationary, so it's good for like
It
to
lasts
plug
for
a
like 8
hole.
hours,
And it
too,
lasts for 8
yeah.
hours, but like there's just never been a time where like
Oh, you should do it, then I can like throw people into it.
actually, there you go. Okay, well, all right, we should workshop more of this.
I do want to ask though, because Vondel to me is very clearly the moral compass of the group.
He's a straight guy.
You don't say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So how do you feel how does Vondel feel looking at all the stuff that Tarek and the Head Smashers have done that saved the world, endangered the world, saved the world, endangered the world, saved the world? I think is the right order, where you go back and like, I think the big thing is saving the world the first time from Rezmir and Hazarwan, and then jumping into making a deal with Faye.
Yeah, that is his biggest like regret, that he could not stop that happening. As like he has mentioned so many times, he hates that deal with Faye. Because like he's dealing with the undead forces, like a terrible evil. It's the one time we dealt with a tyrant, and like usually we smash tyrants. Like that's like our whole thing. But that was one time we were like, no, these tyrants are the best. And I do think that's a really weird decision we made as like a group. Like I thought, for example, Hala should have been on my side on that. But no, we were.
You
all
guys are bribed by food, yeah.
yeah, they were all bribed by food. They loved it.
Yeah.
And immediately had horror dreams afterwards, which should have been guilt.
No,
I'm so flattered I refused to sleep that night. Like that was one of my favorite things that Von Lever. No way I'm sleeping in this awful place. I'm definitely awake. And I have Monster Con, so I can definitely stay awake. But I think ultimately like, he knows that his group has done probably more good than ill, and that we've fixed more of the ills than we have broken. He feels pretty bad about that time he really fucked over Merrick for sure.
But you weren't really saying things that were true. You were saying it to get him out of... Like...
No, but even then, like, I definitely set him up for a capturing that, like, I really hadn't thought all the way through. But I think that's also pretty appropriate for Vondel that he wouldn't have thought that all the way through.
Yeah.
But as a player, I also hadn't thought that all the way through. So that worked out.
Nice.
All right, let's jump to our newest member to the group, who's actually had the luxury of actually having listened to everything before he joined us.
Yeah.
So where is Dolus's headspace right now? Because he's had a couple of goals that kind of got...
I play Dolus like burning white phosphorus, where it's like it's not gonna last long, but he takes every opportunity that he can. It's like, if there's something, if the potion on the table, drink it. You know, he's been a lot of fun, but character development wise, like he turned into a child again, so he's been like trying to find boundaries and stuff. So that's been kind of fun to like be reparented.
That's actually one of my favorite dynamics is that since like he's been younger, he's been actually a pretty different character.
I basically like I made him play it as like redemptive like state where he could like try and redo stuff but still be sort of an idiot at the same time.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I think it's actually one of the more fun dynamics is that like he starts off pretty brutally evil.
Yeah, well, he was like supposed to. He grew up like alone, essentially, and like a beguiling guy who like lies and like does all his like was a mercenary prior. Like his backstory was never published was like pretty dark, and then so in becoming young again, he's like, I can redo everything.
Can we reveal some spoilers of how you got into the group?
I actually maybe want to hold on to that.
I got a spiel for that.
Yeah. I also like Vondel has had some suspicions that maybe he does not that Dolus' original intent is maybe not correct. I think that both in and out of character that makes sense for Vondel.
Don't ask, don't tell.
But like knowing that like all right, like I'm just keeping an eye on this guy to see what happens.
Yeah, he came really close to evil before he became young. Super close.
Well, Tarek's happy. He's got his sidekick, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. It's slowly disillusioned over 18 episodes. Remember, like, listening to episode 1, he was like, Tarek, so nice. Now he's like, Especially after that episode where we body swapped for a while and realized how, like, not fun it was to be Tarek.
You can't
don't even get proficiency bonus.
Never meet your heroes.
I will say for Pela, one thing I think James has done a very good job of like at the beginning, Pela was so wide-eyed at the world, and now through all these levels is much like is now so used to these things and has like played that transition very well. I think
she's essentially just a living callus at this point. Where it's like, this is the thing that happened. Well, should we fix it? Okay, we're gonna.
Actually, the other thing I find really interesting about Pela is James's interpretation of how balance is supposed to be represented in the universe. Like it was always like really not how I would have thought of it, and I thought that had some creativity to it. So
I've actually got. I should post a picture sometimes over the course of the seasons because whenever you guys do something really good or really bad, like I keep a track on your alignment markers. So it's essentially like on a 3-strike system, you go one way or the other.
Right.
And there's and to James's credit, playing neutral or true neutral, I've got so many 2 in one way and then 2 back the other way, 2 in one. He always goes to one extreme and then pulls it back to middle.
How many points minus did you give him for the Thay deal? Because he was instrumental in that.
I only gave him 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was good, though. We were saving the universe.
Yeah.
Like, we were saving the world.
Yeah.
Desperate times.
Because he did end up saving the world afterwards.
Look at what they're doing in Game of Thrones right now.
No spoilers?
Yeah, I'm not that far, guys.
Oh.
Well, they go to Thay.
They go to Thay.
Yeah.
And they make a deal with the Thay. It follows our exact path.
We're not paying the iron price.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, we've paid it many times.
So I want to go back over and just whoever wants to fire off first is what is probably your most either memorable or most favorite moment from the past 3 seasons?
Can we exempt episode 8?
Yes,
From the
episode 8 I
list?
think is the transition episode.
What was that one?
It's
That was,
your
that was the
episode.
statue and the transition and like that, like just
Oh.
that comedy
The
of
hands are
errors,
small and
Oh.
you know.
yeah, the Wish episode where
Yeah.
When you got
But yeah,
turned to
it was-
Hacienda.
Yeah, and we're just like traveling between towns all episode, and it goes so wild. I hadn't considered all 3 seasons. From this season, one of my favorites is the body swap that we just talked
Yeah.
about. When
Mm.
you guys, I thought we all really leaned into that moment.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was really thought that wouldn't go well, and then you guys all bought in. I was like, yes.
Yeah, no, it was totally fun. And made for like a interesting like next couple of fights where you're like, what does this character do?
Tiny Tarek.
I was legit scared that Tom was going to get dissolved in acid when,
Yeah.
when he fell into the pit.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
Because you had one round before the door closed.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna get out of here.
Because then Brennan becomes Tarek and Dolus dies.
Oh,
but Dolus's body dies, and so I guess Tarek's mind goes with it, and
Yep.
Dolus's mind would be in my
And
body.
there will be no second play. And the brand almost died that episode too.
Yeah, the brand almost died.
that was like the beginning.
That was the closest
of,
we got.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I don't know if that's
Tarek,
true.
Dolus's Tarek was like, you know what, guys, it is a really good idea to change up the name. I think it's about time. And I'm just yelling at the top of my lungs, no, Brandy.
Just as a side note, because I think this is the closest I've ever seen. Because I remember when we first started playing the very first episode, it's in fact like the first 30 seconds of the podcast. I say, so what do you guys want to call yourselves? And then James like, well, let's come to it organically. Let's kind of like just come to it together. And then I think it was by episode 4 or 5, Tarek was like, well, we're smashing heads, so we're going to call Tarek and Head Smashers. And no one else ever challenged him on it. And it just
We
kept
just
going.
complained about it every single time.
Yeah, it was a case of like, no, that's a terrible name. We're gonna think of something better. It's gonna come, but for right now, we'll accept it.
Yeah.
3 seasons later.
3 seasons later,
We
Yeah.
finally started to change it. We're
Yeah.
pretty close now to mutiny.
to meet me, but at the same time, Tarek is insistent. It's like, no, this is branding, guys. That's the justification.
I blame Dolus for that. He put the first kink in the armor.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, maybe we should change the name. Well, Tarek is saying we should change the name.
Was it Tarek?
Defenders of the Meadowvale guy.
I hope you gave him a good check mark for that.
All right. Let's see. Favorite moments.
My favorite moments have been all the times that I've forced people to bring Horsalina back from the dead.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I will kill you if you don't do this.
Yeah.
I think we've done it twice.
My favorite moment related to that was when we were all inside that giant worm stomach and we all try to teleport and we keep bringing out parts of Forest by accident.
So good. I recently re-listened to that episode, like maybe a couple weeks ago, and it's so because there's that great moment where John's like, "Oh, the horse will stay up here." And you're like, "No, the horse is coming with me."
That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep the horse here so you can kill it. I'm taking it.
Yeah, no. Horse was ripped in half. What's even dumber is I resurrected the horse in the middle of a dragon lair. I really should have just waited until we got to town.
We had a timer that said like 6 more days. Like, no, doing it now.
Yeah, doing it right now.
Oh, it was so good.
So if we were getting out of there, I'm like, I'm so tired, I can't cast any spells.
And then a giant flesh golem made out of the part of many dwarves came running down the aisle.
That's all a result of like one of my character building things that I always do is I always take one skill that has nothing to do with my character for any reason. So like, why would a half-orc barbarian have handle animals? But I do, and then you use it whenever you can, every single time.
And now you've got a menagerie of pets. You've got Horsalina,
Badgerina.
you got the cranium rat.
Yeah.
That's a group pet.
That's more a Dolus pet, I think.
I said group pet, damn it.
Feeding itself into a stupid
Someone has to tell the butler what to do.
And it's the rat without any consciousness?
I think I gotta use Badgerlina more. Badgerlina's really not getting her due.
Yeah.
I think Badgerlina's a guy, actually, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I lost some imagination was when we were in the Dwarven Kingdoms, and it attacked a rat that Morgrun was like using
For Animal Messenger.
That's right.
Yeah, other favorite moments would be the original Sword Gate at the end of season 1.
Oh yeah.
Which is a wild.
Yeah.
When I
the
killed
one-
the guy and then we were running to
Yeah.
in the
But
desert
Sword
circle.
Gate. Sword
No,
Gate.
the
First Sword Gate.
first one.
The
So
very
we're,
end.
we're in the giant's castle,
Yeah.
and you get Hazarwand in that episode.
Yeah.
And it's the first time you ever acquire Hazarwand.
Right.
And we're like, give us that sword. And you're like, nope.
Wait, no, did he already didn't he kill something and we were like, whoa, that was a little too...
Oh, that was
that was a little too
that was
rough.
Rathmodar that he killed.
Right, thank you. Okay.
And like you saw like the soul being like sort of
Yeah.
drawn out.
And then you tell me to give that up. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Because you all saw that and you're like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, John, as the DM, what was your favorite episode or moment?
yeah.
Rather?
Oh man. I think it has to be from season 1 going up the Trader's Road
Yeah.
and Losine disguising himself as your boss and trying to lure the assassins
good.
into the back alley. And I just kept going like, this is exactly what they want. This is exactly what they want. It's like, no, get a little closer. It's like, oh, there's a stabbing coming. There's a bad stabbing coming. The only reason I'm convinced he didn't die outright is because I rolled so poorly on the sneak attack damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just that
Yeah.
immaculate moment of like he's doing like
Yeah.
I didn't prompt any of this. He's like, I'm gonna walk into this trap and eat all of the cheese and expect no consequences.
Build his own trap. Yeah. It's actually sort of a shame because I really wanted to play with those things. He was my favorite character when I was a listener.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
before I met you guys. Now it's probably Bondle.
Not Tarek? Oh!
Never meet your heroes. Never meet
Never meet your heroes.
I was you for a day, and it was awful.
Hey, I have some chronic, pain that
you keep it deep under wraps. Yeah.
Yeah, Evan's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
Both, as a role player, but also he gets the rules of Dungeons and Dragons in a way.
Yeah.
He's
very good at manipulating them.
and and just his strategy is always so strong. Like I've also DM'd with Evan in my party a couple times, and he's impossible to stop, and everything does like, man, that's so fucking cool. Like, where'd it go? Like, you totally nailed that. Well, which is actually also, I think, why it's been like you are also so good at Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that's a long 20 years of playing.
Yeah.
So it's been a pretty easy transition. You went from from master strategist.
Honestly, I think you've kind of, when you stepped in for Evan, you filled that role of being like the guy with probably maybe the most experience at the table and the best ability to manipulate the rules and come up with weird shit.
That's why I got to be a caster.
Yeah.
Casters get the weirdest stuff.
So,
You get creative with it.
Because Evan was very much that person in our first couple seasons, and so it was really nice to keep that dynamic going. So
Yeah, it was going back to that point. It's been like two different slices of the same pie, where you've got to see the warlock power and how Evan used the warlock powers and how you've used the sorcerer powers, and that I think the great difference is the sorcerer wild magic ability.
Oh, so good.
Because I think we can all that fight would have gone a lot different with the soulstone in the Dryad had the clutch unicorn.
Clutch unicorn.
Not
clutch.
That's the scariest moment of the season. There's two scary moments. That is the biggest one, though. I think.
Yeah.
Because none of us have intelligence saving throws, and that fight made me change what I did at level 19.
We got picked apart.
We got picked apart, and we each have a 5% chance of getting awake right now. And I also did look up the unicorn afterwards. Thank you, John, for bending those rules a bit.
I figure if chaos magic can bring a unicorn of all on a D100 or percentile dice, the unicorn showed up and had healing powers. Like, yeah, you're goddamn right. It's gonna. You only get 3.
Yeah.
but it's going.
Yeah, because it does cure like poison, but not stupefies.
Oh, yeah.
It could have been a higher level. NPC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. It's a custom made DM's.
Could have been a unicorn cleric. You don't know.
It felt right for the story at that point.
Yeah.
Because you could feel you guys getting up to the edge of all like kind of like that despair, because you could just see it on your faces.
Yeah,
like
the edge of despair. Yeah, not despair.
So-
the edge of despair.
It was funny because in my mind when I rolled it and I got to pick between the two options, and I saw the unicorn. The other one I thought was going to help more because I didn't think the unicorn would actually help the party. I thought it would just be like window dressing for the fight. And so I was just like, no, unicorn right now. That's just one of the aesthetic of the unicorn inside of this dryad stomach. And
What's your favorite moment? Sorry, go ahead.
No.
You know what was great? Little moments that I'm really proud of. The conversation on the trade route up, when you said that I was like the last one, no one would pick me.
Oh yeah.
And I just had that like arguing conversation, talking at that guy and being like, no, I didn't lose that. I didn't lose that Bard off. He cheated. And and the impression was that Tarek had gone on for like 2 entire days of this guy explaining why he didn't lose. And I felt that was just like perfectly in character with Tarek.
Yeah. Especially from like the guy who should have gotten a job right away. You were so distracted by this loss that you just couldn't land right.
Palin also sleeping with Pick in that episode. Pretty awesome. Well,
I liked this moment when in the border crossing when Vondo references the 2 signature policy.
Actually, yeah, that's the first time. My favorite character dynamic is the illiterate barbarian.
Yeah.
Constantly writing, like just monkeying into his book.
Sorry. You know what? Yeah, the 2 Tarek thing that's just happened. I'm really happy.
Yeah, that was excellent. That was well done.
Yeah. It's because when Brandon talked to me a while back, or not, I guess time-wise a while back, but he was talking about wanting to do time travel magic with the wish spell. And I was like, hey, if you want to do it, because during the Mackenzie Mormont fight, he actually sent me a text message saying, I want to cast wish spell time travel.
Yeah, but without telling anybody.
But I didn't check my phone, so I didn't see it until after the game.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, if you want to do that, just say you're going to do it, and it happens.
Yeah, like I wanted John to just describe it, and then no one know why we went back in time. Because, subtle cast, why not?
Oh, jeez.
But it did cause me, it gave me room to say, okay, great, Wish can do anything. Time to come up with some time travel rules.
Yeah. I like this specter that's just following around.
The Cronia. Cronia is good.
I've self-named her or whatever, but...
Yeah, every time it's like, that's not her name.
That's not her name.
What was the world with the marshmallows, the flutes?
Oh, that was great too.
That was a great little moment,
You
yeah.
got stuck in the astral plane?
In the astral plane, yeah.
A lot of the best moments are just things that we've stumbled upon by accident and then just had to roll with it. Yeah, like we felt, going into Demi Planes. I love that when you cast Banish to yourself to go back. That's amazing. What a crazy use of the Banish spell.
Wishing back everything, including Hazelon.
Every kind of rules lawyer. A wish spell. It goes poorly.
I felt so bad for you that day, Miles, because this is all going off the rails right now. I think it's because Miles isn't here.
The Miles is Gone episode might have been my favorite because of the fact, not because you weren't here, because I enjoy playing with you a lot. It was the fact that you knew how you were going to react when you got back to the just mess that we had left.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I was getting some text updates because I was in Vancouver that day, and I was getting some notes. I was like, "What are they doing? What is happening? How is the evil sword back?" And then the end's like, "You're in Thay now." I'm like, "Oh my god, what did they get up to with 30?
Azeron's back.
This is really dark days."
We did recap season 2.
Yeah. It's I think all of us maybe had a session now where we aren't here, and those are a little bit different every single time because you just do get a different dynamic without
Yeah,
us
yeah.
here.
Collective storytelling.
Yeah. And Vondel very much is like, okay, now what's the right thing to do? Which is, I'm sorry if it gets boring, listeners, sometimes.
Do you think if you played another character that you would play someone that isn't Goody Two Shoes on the next time around?
So I've designed the character for the next season that I want to play, and I'm very excited about them. They're not a caster, which I've never really played. So I'm excited about that part of it in terms of describing action combat. This character is so far designed as neutral, and it will be tricky to play neutral. I think
Neutral's hard
because I when I play video games, I definitely in a multi-choice game will tend towards good options. And the game of Dungeons and Dragons, where you have just a billion options, it will be tricky to try to stay neutral as a character.
You gotta give yourself a really good story hook or something to pull you in that direction.
Yeah, that's the thing too, right? Is like what the story hook is for a neutral character. We'll see.
Told my wife hello.
And they're also gonna be like, well, I think the alignment is lawful neutral, so like
That's good.
That's an excellent alignment, actually.
that's good.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah,
Those can be fun.
those are good. Those things like characters like who are more about order and like keeping things.
Yeah, you're like
status
Jean
quo.
Valjean.
Like
He was
yeah,
lawful, was he?
you know,
He
you
was
kind of like follow
Jean
the
Valjean.
rules.
No, sorry,
Even if the rules are
Javert,
wrong, even if the rules are wrong and it creates a situation where you're doing something bad,
yeah,
you're going to follow the rules.
yeah,
Mhm.
So
So I want to get into, because I think we should get close to wrapping this up, is talking about, the secret big bad who's been kind of lurking in the shadows for this whole season. And I'm really kind of like, for 2 seasons now, is what are you guys expecting? What do you think this Wrath Modar final showdown is going to be?
Oh, God.
Oh,
Brutal.
man.
it's gonna be well, there's definitely gonna be a lot of firepower on the other side of the line.
2 breath weapons in a round could wipe some stuff pretty
that's very
quick.
scary.
Yeah.
Especially third
So
edition
unless you're
dragons.
trying to RP the dragons and be
Yeah.
like, remember me,
Yeah.
your father.
One of them.
I don't know if it's tilting my hands too much, John. I'm maybe hoping on RPing Wrath Modar a little bit. Because I think there's still something you can reach in him. And I think I have a good hook for it. We'll see how it goes. It might go badly.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should tell Tarek the plan so that he can use his much better charisma.
I wish this never happened. And we're playing Shadowrun now.
Or why are we in a steampunk world?
You can use the other abilities if you can find a way to, I'm going to do an acrobatics show that will convince him of something. Then you can use your acrobatics.
I can wish
Yeah.
that you did an acrobatic show that convinces him.
Yeah, how can I use my perfect wisdom?
Well, you can convince him with a good argument, right? Or
Yeah, that's true.
knowledge or
Yes.
something, right?
Like, this is
Yeah.
my world experience, and this is why it's not going to go well.
Well, I have a piece of information that I think is going to work out. Like, I think I am pretty sure that man who talked to us in the mirror, who that person is.
The other interesting thing that would actually be really cool. I'm going to just imagine this in my head. I'm not saying we play it because this might be boring. But in my head, the full circle would be single combat again, like the start of season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Where you, I can't remember, you challenged like a dragon. It was a half dragon that was like way higher level than you.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Vondel actually ended up dying there, and I had to resurrect
No,
him.
it was Hawk.
The very first episode, which is also, I think, one of my favorites
That's
ever
right, the
as
statue
well.
made of me. Is that right? Is that
Yeah.
in greenness?
That was a great episode because you actually got to use the often never used mending spell.
To fix the door.
Yeah, to fix the door.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're going to have to change that statue in greenness now.
Oh,
No.
Joel's always wanted us to end up at Greenest because I always really wanted to cast Animate Object on the statue of Hawk. Have him follow me around for a while. But we never got there.
I do miss playing Hawk. Hawk was a lot of fun. I miss doing the voice.
Yeah, the voice is great. It's weird listening to old episodes now because it is very different. The
Oh, yeah?
character is so different.
Oh,
between
yeah.
the two. There's obviously like things that are still very similar, which is great. Like you play that distinction very well. But Yeah, he's such a perfect comedy character.
Yeah.
I remember back in season 2, or just right at the start of season 2, Evan said, "I'm really excited for this season." I was like, "Why is that?" It's like, because everyone has their own impression of Hawk, and I love listening to everyone do it. And it's true, if you go back and listen to them, we all do our different versions of, like, "Hello, my name is Hawk."
Yeah.
I do kind of like the French Canadian, like,
Yeah.
"I've come to smash your head."
We've all done it at least once. I know I have.
Yeah. Definitely.
It still slips out sometimes.
We also all did Skiz, which was fun.
We all had a skid voice. Yeah, we all had a skid voice. Yeah.
I'm not sure which ones are canon and which ones are not, but having an indestructible scout was great.
That'd been some rules of D&D hard. Telepathy was only supposed to be 100 feet.
Oh, really?
But Skiz was its own character, and you just kind of play that out.
Yeah, it's always when you have a little break and be like, "Oh, Evan's going to do some scouting now, so I guess I'll listen to see if everything's good." Check my email, see what's going on.
I'm going to check some options for barding next level.
And John, to his credit, balanced it out with having Skiz always be in debt. That Lothian had to pay.
Yeah, I've been talking to Evan about what he's been doing in the Feywild, but he's like, I kind of feel this is what's happening right now because I have a kid to take care of, and now I've got like a baby black dragon I have to take care of and Skiz. So I feel what I really want to do is, like, I've got responsibilities I have to take care of first.
2 guys, a gal, and a pizza place.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds. Such humble beginnings.
I will say, though, for the Battle Royale coming up, Lothian will be coming back into the arena. And he also apparently is the only head smasher who's going to go to the Tomb of Horrors.
So here's what I will say. If I were to bet on who were to win that right now,
The Battle Royale,
yeah, it would either have to be probably Lothian or Vondel.
My vote was on Vondel last time.
Yeah.
Clerics are beefy.
Because you can run away long enough in battle royales, but clerics can be brutes.
Yeah, I got a lot of HP. I have a lot to come back. I can come back a lot as well.
Yeah.
And that last fight, actually, if I played it smarter, I probably could have won it. Had I used
Did you miss you forgot to use Death Ward or something on that?
No, I had Death Ward on. I just should have used my epic level spell to go all the way up to full and not go to half. And if I gone all the way up,
right?
Who knows?
Yeah. But that was also like the clutch Trevor rolling the natural 20 on the death saving throw.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah. So that's the other thing. Everything goes out the window now that there's a Vorpal sword in the battle.
Yeah.
You can be at full hit points and just like, oh no, you're dead now.
Yeah.
Just behead people.
Yeah. We were also afraid of Lothian because we know what he can do, and he's definitely. My money was on Lothian in that first battle royale. I think. Are you going to play it?
I'll play the battle royale. Yeah.
I think Dolus is also.
He's gonna kill one person to really kill him. Notice how I said him.
Yeah, evasion is a mighty ability.
Yeah, I've got Pela's my ultimate counter. Pela, because we randomly rolled all of Dolus' spells, so I did not pick Dolus' spells. Like, they were all from dice rolls. So almost everything's a dex save, and one of the characters has evasion, so I have to, hold person on Pela in order to be able to hit her.
And she's also got a beefy wisdom save as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that's gonna be entertaining. But I will probably kill Tarek. One blaze of blood. I will do that time-stopped chain of spells and just wipe him off the face of the earth.
That was pretty impressive. That was like the first big kill thing you did.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
You overkilled it.
That was all my
all
6 through 9
holy shit.
spells and half the charges on my
Yeah,
staff.
because I remember taking a tally of it and something you did something like 368 points of damage in technically 4 turns, but in 1 round.
Yeah.
Oh my
I was like, I'm the big hitter in this group, yeah, and then just suddenly 300 damage in 1 turn. Oh well.
Sorcerers, man.
When you see a spellcaster point, run.
Yeah.
You should play Caster next time, Trevor. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can
a lot
do
of
all the
creativity in
homework.
Caster. You don't have to do that much homework because, especially like sorcerers, you only have a certain amount of spells.
Oh, you could be a half-work sorcerer.
Oh, that would be so good.
That would be
Maybe.
so good.
That would be so rare.
Honestly,
Yeah.
any sorcerer's not too much homework. And also, they all start so low. Like it's
Yeah.
only it's incremental homework. Honestly,
Yeah.
You get the cards, I guess. I'll just
you
buy
get the
it.
cards. There's a lot
You
of
don't need the cards. You only have 15 spells by the end, so you don't even need cards, to be honest.
But don't you have to load them up?
No, you just
No.
No.
Oh, you just have 15.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can do that. Maybe.
Yeah, like Vondel clerics get to like pray for their spells every morning.
Yeah.
So I get a credible amount of switchy swappies.
Right.
But no other class has that.
Okay.
Druids.
Druids.
Oh,
Yeah.
Druids have that? Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Druids are also.
Druids are fun as hell. You enjoy Druids.
Druids are like animals and stuff, right?
They
Yeah.
can be
Oh,
cast
actually-
animals. Or,
yeah.
yeah.
They can be a little bit healer, a little bit whatever.
And you can have a pet.
You have a pet.
See, this is the kind of stuff I want. I want weird objects that I can use.
You're also able to turn into animals.
Oh, that'd be
as
pretty
a
good.
druid.
You may like an
Yeah.
artificer because then you can build a giant robot to follow you.
That's
around.
true. They were, we did that for a one-shot once, and the robot was really fun.
Yeah. There's a barbarian build now that's kind of like a paladin barbarian.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
sounds pretty cool.
Palabarian?
Palabarian. It's like
Barbaladin.
it has these like tattoos, and the tattoos like leap off your body and like
Oh.
protect your allies.
Oh, so they did. So
Huh.
cool.
What about paladins?
Well, you can play Stone Sorcerer. It's like a melee sorcerer. It's really
Paladins are kind of like fighters with some light healing, and they're
Well, I think they're more.
Right.
I always called them buffetins because after I did,
they buff, right? Yeah, that's true.
after I did,
I was
the-
thinking about doing a
I kind of like the
paladin
idea
for
of being
the-
a priest.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't do a paladin.
I was
Okay,
thinking
well,
about I was thinking about doing a paladin. I mean, I'm not married to it, but that's kind of like what
You can always be an Earthbreaker paladin and get the
Yeah.
necrotic damage on you.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking with my character. The whole concept was that I was trying to think of an interesting way where it's like the character, like everyone else in the world, acknowledges that the gods exist, but hates them because she feels she's actually being manipulated by them. Like an evil god has chosen her and said, "You're going to be my instrument. You're going to be my paladin. You don't get a choice in it." And she kind of has to, go along and with it. Right. And
Mhm.
being like, she'll be presented with situations and like, I guess her God will speak to her and say, no, you got to do it this way. You got to handle it this way, even though she may not want to. But she knows that if she disobeys, the consequences won't be there. Something bad will really happen. Really bad will happen.
I always had this idea for a character. I had for a game that I was going to play, but then I ended up breaking up after like 1 or 2 sessions just because of life. But I would specialize in improvised weapons, so I could use almost anything as a weapon.
Yeah, that was
Just constantly grab things and break it to like off a chair. Or, like,
I think there was a rule variant for monks in 3.5 with that. You just like hit things like all the time. There was also like a chain fighter build in 3.5 that was really fun too.
Interesting. Like how much damage?
You can do you can be a whip fighter, which is a pretty neat build.
Whip fighter. Well,
My next campaign idea is as a fighter who's a combination between Hermione and Wonder Woman.
Nice.
Hermander moment.
Her Wonder Woman.
Is my current conception of how.
Wonder Miney?
No, I think it's Hermander woman.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is
Popsicle.
It's pronounced Halberd, not Halbred. So let's wind it up. So any last thoughts about Rathmodar coming up?
Well, I mean, before we do that, I just wanted to say I wanted to thank the group too because I know it kind of came in as a usurper late in the game. So you guys are very
As far as we
welcoming.
know, Lucian gave you permission.
You guys made the season very easy for me to play, so I appreciate that.
Cool.
You did a great job.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You being the new guy, you fit right in, and like I said before, you kind of filled that gap that Evan left, being like the weird guy.
Hey, it was weird.
Vondel's a straight guy. You're the weird guy.
Wait! We should reveal what the bones were about.
Oh,
yeah.
this is so good.
The bones were because in D&D universe there's relics and they do things. So I was gonna make a merch table at the next Tarek show of bones with all the dates and
who
creatures
killed?
that we got them off of. So like
still do
sell
that.
for like sell the
Wow.
membership fans.
So not what I was expecting.
I kept saying it's to help the group guys.
I know.
Honestly, I think if you would have told Tarek that right away, he would have been so down.
That wouldn't have been the game.
He would have been so down.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, I think he's murdering people for like a Dark Ritual. It's like, no, he's just building a merch table.
It's all about product. You supplied the man. You got to make sure it's there. People will come and see the show.
I thought you were just going to resurrect them into like a terrible flesh golem. It's really what I was like. Why is it? Oh my god!
What's the worst reason he could bring them all to back?
I also like because his flaws, he has to pay for like to make friends. He has to buy everything.
Yeah.
And you guys thought he was like forging all those
Yeah.
coins.
He was forged nothing.
No,
He just had that money.
Yeah, I totally thought you were forging that money.
Yeah, me too.
Oh wow, that wasn't fake money.
No, it was real money the whole time.
Yeah, man.
You just build archetypes in your mind and you just assign them to people.
It's called being Tiefist.
It's true. I mean, I'll let everybody else answer the Rathmodar question because I have no experience with him directly. So
He wasn't even in the show.
Yeah, that was a fun reveal. That was so well timed too, because I listened to that episode literally like the day of or the day before the final Rathmodar reveal, and Brendan knows that like when you started that story, I'm like, oh, it's fucking Rathmodar.
You know what was
before you got to like I wrote it on my sheet. And that you had combined his character into a composition.
Yeah, I was. I mean, just talk
a
about
really
like
nice accidental moment of comedy.
Yeah, talk about a perfect storm of like just comedy and elements. Being like, yeah, who's Rathmodar? And like, he was very legitimately justified in saying that because I did what I did with the with the show, and part of the editing process is that you make changes for dramatic effect.
I kind of want to do at some point just do a one-off where you all make like level 3 or 5 characters, and the one-off is going to attend one of Tarek's shows.
trying to survive. That'd be a Patreon campaign up on.
because when you guys fought in the stadium, the dragon has actually did the damage that Tiamat would do.
Oh my gosh.
If you figure out how to set them off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oh man. That's actually a
Practical
great
effects,
great
man.
hook. For like our season 4 stuff, I wouldn't mind that as like the hook for our new group. Being like we all just attended a Tarek show.
Well,
and we are the only survivors.
the timeline I have
We
is
seek
that
for revenge.
the timeline I have for your season 4 is that it happens like 2 days after Rise of Tiamat happens.
Okay.
So like
So congruent with so you get like sprinkle in news from Tarek and the Heads. That's cool.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I like it.
I wrote down.
Like rumors of conjecture and virus and
I
stuff.
like it.
I think it's gonna be definitely a very tricky fight, which is very exciting. I'm hoping that we are able to maybe do a little bit of RP, which we rarely do against big bosses, and it's usually very hard to do.
yeah, you had a chance against Talus, and then it was just like gun ho, like
Yeah. Someone jumped right into that. I can remember.
Talus was a great villain. I also, I'll say one of my favorite episodes of the season was our like Talus kind of epilogue episode where it was kind of another down, like we weren't doing a lot of like actual story progression. We were kind of hanging out in town. The dragon attacked us. We like had read the journal that episode. We dispelled the thing. Like it was a very nice little like bow on a nemesis for like through who appears in all of the seasons, which like very few characters do. I guess there's like maybe 10 or so that appear in all 3, but one that we fought like 4 or 5 times.
I
That's one that Pela saved from me, right? Like
and Vondel was in on that too. Like Vondel was like, "No, we did make a deal." Like,
yeah. Looking back on that, actually, I should have been on that side as well. I think being like, we made a deal. I should probably do that.
All right, so let's wrap it up for there. Next week will be either possibly the final episode or the second last episode, where we may actually see that confrontation with Rathmodar and the rest of the Tomb of Horrors. So if you've been listening, thank you so much for spending the time with us. We hope this little roundtable has entertained you. And from myself, Brendan, Miles, Tom, and Trevor, and James, who is off enjoying PAX West, thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next one.
Wait, thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Also very important. Yeah,
Thanks for
John does all of the hard work.
Thank the listeners.
Don't cut that.
Oh yeah, you guys are great.
You guys are awesome.
Yay.
Without you, there wouldn't be a microphone.
It's true.
Yeah, guys.
All right. See you next week.